Should Ubisoft add a functioning shooting range into Rainbow Six Siege? Hey, what's up guys, Irishtail here, and in today's video I want to discuss the topic of Ubisoft potentially adding in a firing range or a shooting range into Rainbow Six Siege. Now, this comes about because recently I was testing out this map with a couple of friends, being Brief Drums and Rob. Both guys I play with on ranked on a regular basis, and basically we discussed the idea of Ubisoft adding in some sort of functioning firing range into Siege for players to be able to test out different sort of aspects of the game, be that, you know, damage drop-off, accuracy, you know, moving targets to, say, potentially test your tracing ability to be able to follow enemies around, and also other things as well. So, after a little bit of discussion, I kind of went off on my own here and had a few extra thoughts about it, and thought I would share my ideas on how Ubisoft could actually really improve their game, specifically by adding in some sort of active shooting range. Now, of course, here we are on the new Hereford base map, and as you can see, there is already, you know, somewhat of a very bare-bones shooting range kind of set up here in the rain, just for you to be able to, you know, test out your abilities of shooting. Now, of course, this isn't actually meant to be utilised as a proper shooting range, you know, it's not meant to have any kind of, like, real usage. But realistically, you know, it's a good start, in my opinion, to how we can actually make a proper shooting range. It wouldn't take much for Ubisoft to basically take this bare bones and turn it into something really effective, really useful, that we could essentially, you know, make use of to improve your overall game stats. Things like, you know, like as I say, if I break it down into theory crafting, right, all you would have to add is an ammo box sort of just here, something that you can replenish your supplies on a regular basis, some sort of points indicator here, say potentially the amount of damage you've caused to an enemy with an individual shot. So the idea here is if I shot that guy there, torso, point blank in the middle, I'd get a little indicator on here, this is where you've hit them, this is how much damage you've caused, and like obviously like a little point score on the right for people that care about that sort of thing on a shooting range. But again, it would be a great little breakdown for people to understand these things, because even pros practice. That is just a general thing. Even pros want to know, okay, this is how much damage that does at this range, this is how much damage that assault rifle does at this range. And I just think it would be nice to be able to test these individual features without having to go back to a certain menu to pick out a new loadout, to change certain things, and see what changes it makes. I mean, again, another thing to add would be the ability just to pick an operator and pick attachments on the fly, again, just in a little box here that you could just select and change immediately through to that operator and to their gear. I just think it would be a huge boon to the game and would only improve people's ability to play. I mean, you have to think of it as this, right? Let's say I want to test, specific, let's say Maverick right here. I want to test him with his suppressor on, his suppressor off, and also whether I prefer, you know, the vertical grip or the slanted grip, you know, or again, I have to go back to the menu in the base game, I have to choose those new features, I have to change each individual bit, I then have to come into basically a terrorist hunt game, shoot an enemy, try and figure out how my accuracy is, how good I am at, you know, covering the recoil. Then I have to go back to the menu, keep everything I've just said in mind, and then go back into another terrorist hunt, shoot a new enemy, then try and sort of calculate how good my recoil is at that, how much damage I'm doing, you know, how accurate I'm being. And I just think that there needs to be an easier way of doing this. Ubisoft very recently talked about the fact that, you know, they're looking at how they can improve onboarding, which for those of you guys isn't aware is how you basically bring in new players, how their experience is, as they have said they are trying to improve that experience. Very recently I talked about how the fact that the game's very toxic for new players, and adding in something like this, a shooting range where you can say, hey, look, you can test your recoil here without being judged, without people saying, hey, this is what I think to how you're playing. You know, it would just be a nice little change, because it would give people a chance to say, hey, right, I want to just sit down and practice my recoil control, practice my ability to shoot targets. You know, if they added in a few moving targets here and there that you could shoot and spray as they moved, that would be fantastic, because again, it would just be that little change that would improve the game for new players and help them get better as they play. Similarly, you could add in like a point scoring system with little discs that just come up, pop up at random, and you have to sort of practice your point shooting, you know, just like that, go across and shoot all these different targets as they appear. It would just be a nice little change, again, to the game's basic mechanics, and it would improve people's ability to shoot. As I said, even pros need practice, and the ability to just sit down in an environment where you've not got a time limit, where you've not got to worry about ammo, and you can just sit and practice your shooting, practice your accurate aim. Even in CSGO, pros will sit there and play on flick maps where little dots randomly appear on the screen and they have to flick from dot to dot to dot and try and hit them. And again, it keeps score of how many shots you've hit, how many shots you've missed, how many points you've gained, And again, it would just help players, because there is no current situation where you can do this in Siege. And in a first-person shooter, the ability to sort of, you know, track your shots, have an idea of how you're shooting, is a really big boon to have. Given that CSGO only had that sort of point shooting system added in by the community, it shows that a community aspect is adding in some sort of shooting range. Communities really want the ability to be able to see how well they're performing, how well they're shooting, you know, where their sort of abilities lie. Because as you can see on here, on this one, I've got an idea that, yes, I can regularly hit targets at a close range. You know, medium range, again, it's fairly simple. But when I'm holding down the button to shoot and spray, I miss a hell of a lot around a target. And it would just be nice to know how often I miss, how often I hit. Again, here you can see on a further target, I pull right quite often when I shoot. And I wouldn't really know that unless I sat down here on a testing range and just practice shooting. And like I say, it would just be a slight little change just to improve the game. I mean, hell, if you wanted to make it more Siege related, have it as like little cameras that pop up and you can shoot. Because then, hey, it gets people in the mind of, oh, there's a camera, shoot it, oh, there's a camera, shoot it. Again, it's point shooting, but also it adds in that little bit of a Siege-esque kind of, you know, addition to the game. And like I said, the ability to just be able to turn around and go, right, now I want to take thermite with, you know, a flash hider and a compensated vert grip, and then test how good his recoil is, how good my control is, you know, it would just make everything 10 times better, because it would mean that I don't have to rely on going to the menu, changing things out, and making those changes again to be able to play the game in a new style. I don't know, like I say, it's a personal opinion. I think it would be nice to see these sorts of things. And again, like testing out, you know, the ability to just do things like round corner shooting, peek shooting, those sorts of things. It would be nice to know how accurate I am when I'm moving. Because again, as you can see, I've kind of pulled a bit on the left there, and if I do to the side, again, I pull off to the side. So it's nice to know these sorts of things, you know, the ability to change up my playstyle, change my attachments, and see how they actually affect me in a very short space of time is just only a benefit to players. I don't see any negatives to adding something like this in. It doesn't affect the main game, it doesn't reduce your ability to play. All it does is gives you a chance to analyse your own abilities, your own ways of playing, and also test out attachments and see what works best for you in different environments. Because currently, like I say, it's just so difficult to do. But, you know, that's just my thoughts on the shooting range and how I think Ubisoft should add one in. Again, I can't see any negatives. It only improves, again, the experience for pro players, ranked players who want to improve their aim. It improves the experience for new players. It helps them learn recoil. It helps them practice a little bit without the worry of being shot at by a terrorist or another player. Because let's be honest, in a ranked situation, or casual situation, when you're shooting another player, you're not really thinking about your aim. You're not really thinking about how you can improve that. All you're thinking about is, I need to kill this other player. I need to improve my shooting. I need to make sure that, you know, I can deal with that. And like I say, it's just not great for learning. It doesn't improve your experience too much, because yes, you know, you can try and get more kills, you can try and improve sort of in the short term, but again, it's on the fly situation where you're not really learning. It doesn't give you a chance to learn recoil patterns, which again would be great in here. If I could just sit down, hold the trigger and see this is what the recoil pattern is, it just goes straight up. I can then try and like account for that and see how good I'm doing. And again, a scoreboard just imitating and showing me this is where you're shooting, this is where every kind of shot goes, this is, you know, where you need to improve and what you need to change, would only be a boon to players. And again, if it showed things like stats of, okay, what's the damage drop off to a shot that's, say, you know, 10 meters away, versus what's the damage drop off to a shot that's 33 meters away. And again, a damage indicator would show up and say, first shot did this damage, second shot did this damage. Again, it would just help you understand sort of the drop-off of weapons. For YouTubers, you know, like Rogue9, stuff like that, it would mean that they could actually shoot targets and give you guys a clear breakdown of how much damage you're doing at different ranges. And again, if you wanted to do that yourself in theory craft and see how much damage do I do at certain distances on certain objects, you would actually have an idea of that. You would know, okay, 8 meters away, that does, say, like 50 damage. You know, 33 meters away, 31 meters away, that does, like, you know, 40 damage. There's a 10 damage drop off there. So realistically, when using this weapon, this is how far I need to be to effectively cause the most damage. You know, I just think it'd be a good addition. But as always, you know, this is just my thoughts and opinions. Let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think that, you know, like a shooting range would improve the game, or do you think it's just a waste of time? As always, if you did enjoy the video, feel free to hit the like button. I really do appreciate the support. If you didn't, the dislike button is just there. If you didn't like the video, feel free to let me know your thoughts as to why you didn't enjoy it. Do you think a shooting range is pointless, or do you just not like my uploading style of video? Of course, if you enjoy the content, again, there is a subscribe button just there. I am also streaming regularly on Twitch with a few of the YouTubers, which you can check out in the link in the description below. I also have a Twitter page and merch store as well, so feel free to check those out. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the idea. Of course, if you do, feel free to share it with Ubisoft, your friends. Try and get a little bit of a talk going about it, as obviously, you know, if more people are talking about this, potentially we might actually see it added into game eventually. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.